Joined by head coach Scott Abell from the Washington Lee University Generals football team. They were picked number 4 in this year's preseason poll. Coach, I'm going to ask you, put your presidential hat on a little bit and give me instead of a State of the Union, give me a State of the Generals coming into this preseason.
Well, I think the overwhelming theme will be our youth. You know, it's clearly the youngest team we've had in my time at Washington Lee, and it's probably the youngest team that I'll be a part of as a coach, maybe in my career, no matter where I've been.
When we take a look at some of the numbers over the past few years, from you being an offensive coordinator, now the head coach the last couple of years, over the last 4 years, 14,000 plus rushing yards, which is an outstanding mark, not just from running backs, a stable of running backs, but from your quarterbacks as well. Talk a little bit about what it is, the rushing philosophy of your offense, and maybe what you see coming into this year, because you've got a couple of studs back still with Austin Eisenhower and last year's Rookie of the Year, and Marshall Hollerith.
Well, you know, we certainly, that is our game plan, and that's our philosophy inside our program, that we really want to control the football game with our rushing game, it varies from year to year according to who our personnel is and who's our trigger man. I think through the years we've been able to be, consistently get our option game going. Now I think teams are certainly defending us better and are coming into games better prepared as they play us more often. So that forces us to continue to evolve and look at new things. But you're right, we have a good stable of backs coming back. We're excited about. We only lost one back to graduation, but we're still going to be young back there. You mentioned Austin being a rising senior. He's a captain. We're expecting big things out of him. He got hurt the Sydney game 9 last year early on, but really was finding his stride game kind of 5, 6, and 7, and he's a young man with a great deal of talent. And then, the other backs in the backfield are going to be young but talented. Marshall had a fantastic first year, and we'd like to take a little bit of pressure off him. We asked a lot of him as a first-year player. So we really we want to get back to distributing the football to different kids. I think we're best when we're attacking in different phases of our game, not just up the gut of the offense. We got to get our outside game going. We got to get some kind of passing game going. And that's been as much as we want to run the football and control the game with our run game, we got to find some sort of a passing game.
You kind of led into my next spot there. Over the last couple of years, you look over the conference, quarterback has been a relatively stable position when you go from team to team. This year, we've got 3 or 4 squads that have some quarterback fluctuation, maybe have some new signal callers coming in. The Generals would be one of them with the graduation of Nick Lombardo. What do you see from your quarterback position this year?
Well, as we head into camp, Charlie Nelson, who's a sophomore, who saw some playing time last year because of some injuries to Nick, and played well last year for a first-year player. We're excited about him. He had a great offseason. He's got a ton of potential and a ton of upside. He's 6'2", which for us is a big quarterback. He didn't come out of an option program, but really picked up on our option schemes well, and has the ability to throw the football. That's really what he was known for in high school. So we're excited about that, and hopefully we can build on his talent.
When we switch to the other side of the ball, we've seen some glimpses of a good defensive unit that's been back there, and you've got some guys that are back this year. Jake Barr, Moody Hurd in the linebacking core, Brandon Taylor in the secondary. Talk a little bit about some of the players that you see that's stepping up for you this year, and what type of defense we might see out of the Generals.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said we've seen certainly a defense that's shown a great deal of improvement, and a defense that really at times last year kept us in the game, and really for us as a team became the stable for us last year, where we knew going into each game our defense was going to give our young offense at time a chance to hang around, and they did. And so we're extremely excited on that side of the football. I think there's an energy over there that maybe we hadn't had in quite some time, and that's really a compliment not just to our defense staff, but to the seniors who graduated last year and those guys who helped build that foundation over these last 2 or 3 years. And I think this group feels that. They're coming in confident on that side of the football, and I'm as excited about our defense as I've been in a long time.
At this point of the year, everybody's looking for something new. It's everything new right now. Games haven't started yet. Everybody's 0-0. So we want to know who are some of the new kids that could maybe make that difference this year, somebody that may get some time, maybe not at the beginning of the year, but you see by maybe game 5 or 6 being like, it's time for this kid to step in and play. Anybody like that come to mind for you with the Generals this year?
Yeah. Well, with our youthfulness, quite a few kids come to mind. On the offense side, the first kid that comes to mind is a kid by the name of Evan Hinkle, who will be a sophomore, who we really think has as much potential as a running back maybe as anybody in our league. And, I think he's much more comfortable in our offense now. So, we're excited about him. And, on the defense side of football, we moved Jimmy Moynihan, who actually started our season as our starting ODAC last year, to defense to help us out with some linebacking graduation. And I'm excited for what he can bring to us on that side of the football. And then there's a couple first-year guys coming in that we're excited about. We recruited hard to really help our passing game, we're fairly young out there. Well, Bo McCown, who's a rising senior, will be our starting receiver, but he'll be backed up by a couple talented freshmen, Josh Mom and Whit Hawkins, and we're excited about them. And then, secondary-wise, probably was our really big hit on defense, with graduation of Mitchell Thompson and Walter Ramsey. And so I think there's going to be some battles of some younger kids who are eager to play, and some talented kids that are just coming into our program that I think we'll know their names by the end of the season.
And we'll finish up with it, kind of taking a look at a conference view a little bit. We had Hampton-Sydney made some noise in the NCAA tournament last year. They won a game that they hosted at their place, and they went out to Linfield and showed that they could play with the then number 2 team in the country. Look back in the conference, and pretty much everybody in the conference played with that Hampton-Sydney squad. So what does that say about the league as far as where it's coming from a national stage maybe this season?
Well, it's exciting for us, and I remember listening, through the internet, to the Sydney game last year, and it was exciting for their program, and it was exciting for our conference. I think we're close, certainly, to making some major noise. I think it's a very balanced conference, as we've always said, and but I think the talent is certainly growing in our conference. And 2 years ago when we were up at Hobart, and they're the number 17 in the country, and we felt we were only a player or two away right there, and I'm sure that's how Hampton-Sydney felt as they came back home. And I think as our conference continues to grow and we get some home games, our conference champion, the more we can play at home, the better we're going to be.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us today. Good luck this season.